The A&B Jukebox Repair, your one-stop source for Rowe Jukebox repair service and replacement parts. My name is Bruce Wentworth, and I'll be your instructor today. We also want to welcome you to our Jukebox Repair video series, You Can Do It. And truly, you can do this task today. Okay, today's discussion is going to be on how to load CDs, into your Rowe CD mechanism, okay, in your Rowe CD Jukebox. We've had a number of calls the last few weeks on customers just getting their jukeboxes and not knowing how to load their CDs. So we're going to be going over that today. There's two methods of loading your CDs into your CD mechanism. One is by removing the mechanism and putting it on a bench, and it makes it a little bit easier to put your CDs in that way. And the second way is by doing it inside the jukebox, and you being able to use your scan button to be able to rotate the mechanism. The first method of doing it outside the machine is, we're going to be discussing that now. Here's the mechanism over here, okay? And basically, when you get the mechanism out, it makes it a little bit easier because you manually can rotate the mechanism yourself. So basically, what we're going to do first is discuss how is the basket set up, as far as the numerical order. It's set up in this way, that half of the mechanism are all even numbers, and they're numerically set up. And the other half is all odd numbers. So I'm going to show that to you now. Okay, if you look over here, you got 0, 0. And then the next number here would be, it's not 0, 1, it's 0, 2, because it's all even numbers. And then you got 0, 4. And then the open slot, it's not all of them are marked. Every other slot is marked with a number. So the one that's not marked here would be 0, 6. Then you got 0, 8. Then you get, this will be 1, 0. And you got 1, 2. And this could be 1, 4. That one's not marked. And you have 1, 6. If you also look into the back of the basket, you'll see that the numbers are marked the same there. So you got 0, 0. Then you have an open spot, which would be 0, 2. Then you have 0, 4. And the open spot would be 0, 6. 0, 8. And then the open spot would be 0, 10, and then you have 1, 2. Keep in mind, when you're lining up the front slot to the back slot, you got to make sure the CD's lined up correctly to both slots. Sometimes you can easily tip one in one slot and then one in a different slot in the front. You can like put it at an angle. And when you do this, when you go to initialize the CDs, they'll actually miss the CD. It will slide off. So now we're going to rotate the basket. You're going to rotate the basket this way. If you look on the side, underneath, you see a lever. This is a detent lever. If you push it down and you grab the belt, you can turn it counterclockwise. We're going to go to the opposite of the mechanism, okay? Okay, we're over here, and we're going to start with number 01. You see the 01? So now we're on the even side of the basket, and these are numerically set up by even numbers. So you got 01, the open space is 03, then the next space will be 05, then the next space would be 07, then you have 09, then your next space will be 11, and the next space is 13. If you look at the back, we have the same thing. Every other one's marked. So you got 01, then the one that's not marked is 03, then you have 05, then the next one is 07, then you have 09, then the next one that's not marked will be 11 and 13, and so on. Okay, so that's how the basket's numbered. And before you do your CDs, I would suggest you do them 10 at a time. And the reason being, this makes it much more manageable. So right now we have two piles of 5 CDs each, okay? And what you're going to do is you should write down, okay, get a pad of paper like this. And this is so you don't have to re-pulling them out to find out what CD is in there. We're going to put them in this order. And it's very important that you balance the basket. You don't want to just keep putting them in on one side of the basket, because what that will cause is uneven pressure on the mechanism, and that will cause the mechanism not to work. Okay, if it's out of balance and you're putting too much pressure on one side, the magazine motor, the magazine sprag motor will not work. The lever will not pull in. So remember that when you're loading your CDs, you want to balance it off, half and half. And we're going to do that right now. Okay, so right now we're going to go back to the even side where it says 00, 00. Okay, and I've already marked them. 00 is going to be Paula Dual. 02 is going to be B52s. The 04 is Gloria Estefan. So I'm going to load them in that order right now. So I've got the first one. And when you put a CD in, you got two sides. You got the playing surface and you got the label. The playing surface has to be facing your left as you're looking at it. So the playing surface is facing the left. And then the label will be on to the right. So we're going to go and put this right into 0, 0. The next one is the B52s. We're going to put it with the playing surface to the left. This is going to be on 02. Again, make sure you line it up because it's easy to mess them up. And make sure you're lining up the front slot to the back slot. The third one's going to be Gloria Estefan. That's 04. We're going to put in the front, and then look at the back slot as you put it in. Make sure the back and front slots line up. The next one's going to be Phil Collins. It's going to be in 6. And we're going to line the front slot and the back slot. And the last one on this side is going to be En Vogue, Funky Divas. So it's going to be an 8. 8 in the front, 8 in the back. Okay, we did that good. So now we're going to do the next set. And the next set's going to be on the odd side. So we're going to go completely on the opposite side now. And we're going to go to 01. 01's going to be the first one. And if you look at the list you made, Blind Melon's going to be your first one. But before you get your CDs together, you should clean them. And how do you clean your CDs? Well, I just use the lens cleaner that I buy from Walmart. It's about $2 to $3 a bottle. And I just spray them. And I use a small piece of paper towel. And again, I will spray it on one surface like this, just lightly. And you don't do the label side if you can help it. Just do this and wipe it like that, and they come nice and clean. Okay, so that's how I do them. So now we're going to load them in. I already cleaned these and I already marked them. So you have them all marked. So when you go to do your title cards, you know what CDs are in what locations. Okay, so just to save you work, we're having to redo them and take them out and then put them back in. So the first one, here we go, Blind Melon. It's going to be 01. See the slot in the front and then the slot in the back. So you got to line the slot in the front to the slot in the back. The next one, okay, is Clarence Carter. It's going to be, this one's not marked. This is the next number, so it's 03. Remember, it's all odd numbers. Okay, the next one's going to be 05. Front slot is marked, backside slot. The next one's not marked. It's going to be, it's 07, the next number up. Okay, and let me just see. So 07, and again, a little bit of an angle. Make sure the back is lined up in the front. If you don't, then again, they're just going to be out of whack and you're not going to be able to initialize. And the last one's the Eagles. We're going to put in 09, 09. So that's it. So that's all there is to it. But now we're going to go ahead and show you how to load them. Okay, I'm going to remove them all now in the order that I put them in. I'm just going to take them out. We're going to pause. Okay, we're back again. So now we're going to go through the second method of loading CDs into your Rowe CD mechanism, and that's by doing it inside the machine. What we got before us here is a jukebox that's been torn out and put on a bench. And this is for training purposes and for testing purposes when we do some of our testing procedures. Okay, so this mech is totally out. But what we want to make you aware of is we want to point to this switch. You see this switch here? It's called a cancel switch, but it's also known as a scan switch. So it does two functions, cancel or scan. And the next function, next switch we're going to bring you up to here is the service switch. This is mounted usually on the wall or on the top of your jukebox. And on this one here, you have position your service switch here. You have norm and service. Okay, so when we're going to end up putting this in service to start. And when you put in service, you look at your display in jukebox. It says service mode. Okay, now we're going to go back to the mechanism. When you have it in service mode, this switch here now changes from a cancel to scan. And when you push on the switch, the mech's going to rotate. See that? As you hold it in, it's going to rotate around. Okay, so we're going to go back and do the same thing on this one. Go to the even side and start with 02. There's 00 right there, 00. And we're going to put them back in. The same CDs we put in. And we start off with Polar Dual. Again, the playing surface is to the left and the label's to the right. And then we're going to go ahead and do the B52s into the open slot, the 02. Then you're going to do the next one into 04. And again, like that. And then next one into 06. And the last one in 08. Okay. Now, just making sure they're all in right. Okay, now we're going to rotate the basket around to 01, to the opposite side, so we can put balance into the basket, the mechanism. I went by it, so we're going to go back around. There it is. Okay, 01. And we're going to do the same order of CDs that we put in on there. We're going to start off with Blind Melon. Again, the playing surface is to the left and the labels to the right. So again, sometimes there's a little metal divider. You just make sure you're on the right side of the divider. This one's not. I'm going to make sure that you have to line up both slots, which we just did. And then we're going to do the next one. And make sure the back slot and the front slot's lined up. I'm just going to rotate this a little bit more and make it easier on me. Okay, the third one, 05, make sure the front slot lines up with the back slot. And then the next one, 07, which is not marked. It's the next number, odd number, 07. Then you got 09. Okay, that's it. So this is how you put CDs in while you have your mechanism inside your jukebox, how you rotate it around by using your scan button over here. And remember, it's got to be in service when you do it. Okay, and then when you're all done, you can take it out of service and you can go ahead and start initializing. But we're going to close this session for now because we're going to continue with the next session in a minute on how to initialize your CDs. So that's all there is to loading your CDs. Knowing that your basket is set up numerically by odd numbers and then even numbers. So half is all odd and half is all even. And remember that you have to make sure you line up the front slot with the back slot. If you do this, you shouldn't have any problems. Remember that the playing surface is, as you're looking at it, to your left and the labels to the right. My name is Bruce Wentworth. It's been a pleasure having you here for this session, and we hope you'll join us again for the next session of You Can Do It. From A&B Jukebox Repair, goodbye.